attitude fade out. Deuteronomy 8, verses 6 through 18. In the introduction part says, the phrase, lest we forget, appears on war memorials and other commemorations of those who have sacrificed their lives for a cause. The words caution us not to let the dead slip from our memories. In Rudyard Kipling's 1897 poem, Recessional, the reoccurring phrase warned the British Empire to put faith in the judge of the nations rather than in their own imperial power. The origin of the phrase, lest we forget, goes back further than the last couple of centuries. As the Israelites were on the verge of entering the fruitful promised land of Canaan, God cautioned them through Moses, take care lest you forget the Lord your God. In the group discussion, first item was, what are some examples of great gifts that people take for granted?
Freedom. That's a good one. Freedom to come to church, worship. You know, a lot of countries don't have that, or they are facing death if they do it. So it's seriously. One I thought of is and y'all may know some people that fit this category, but some people have some great talents. Singing, playing an instrument, teaching. I've even known some really, really good preachers through the years that have given up, you know, their preaching, and they had a great talent, and just, I won't say it's a talent for preaching. I won't put that in that category. But people have these gifts that God's given to them. They could use them for His glory, and they don't. You just wonder what goes on sometimes.
Bobby, I think one of the gifts is that we live in this area where we've been able to hear the gospel and know what's true, because there's many people out in the world that some have never even heard the gospel, and
Yep.
others, it's not important to them.
On that same line, Terry, anybody that's traveled overseas to countries or back in the service, you go to places that don't have any running water, no electricity, and we take that for granted. I went to some places in Colombia, South America, and I don't know how many times you walk into a dark room and I'd be looking for that switch. Well, there is no one. And they didn't have electricity. So
Yep.
we take a lot of the things that we have for granted. You know, we send mission fields out everywhere, and I know people in the world are hungry for the gospel. But if you watch YouTube and you watch it kind of in the Christian vein, and that's the way you're looking, there's so many videos that come up of people right here in the United States that you talk to them about Jesus, and they have they know who He is, but they have absolutely no idea how to be saved. They have no idea about heaven and hell. They don't know anything. I mean, Easter's a bunny rabbit. Christmas is a tree. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And it's
Sad situation.
it's a sad situation. And you think after, you know, we're fixing 250 years. And make no mistake, this country was built not on Judeo-Christian values, but Christian values. This country was built on Christian values. And 250 years later, we got folks here that they're lost as goods, don't know how to fix it. And that's a shame.
Yeah. Yep. Scott, if you'll read that next section down to where it starts in Deuteronomy, and we'll pick it up on the screen.
When Jacob learned that his son Joseph had risen to prominence in Egypt, Jacob and his extended family went to Egypt to be reunited and to escape famine. The death of Joseph and the new Pharaoh changed everything, and the Israelites became the Egyptians' slaves. The Egyptians made their lives bitter and harsh, labor and brick and mortar, and with
Okay, that's where we'll pick up on the monitor here. Therefore you shall keep the commandments of the Lord your God to walk in his ways and to fear him. For the Lord your God is bringing you into a good land, a land of brooks of water, of fountains and springs that flow out of valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees and pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land in which you will eat bread without scarcity, in which you will lack nothing. That's a big statement, in which you will lack nothing. That's important. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you can dig copper. When you have eaten and are full, then you shall bless the Lord your God for the good land which he has given you. Beware that you do not forget the Lord your God by not keeping his commandments, his judgments, his statutes, which I command you today, lest when you have eaten and are full and have built beautiful homes and dwell in them, and when your herds and your flocks multiply, and your silver and your gold are multiplied, and all that you have is multiplied, when your heart is lifted up, and you forget the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage, who led you through that great and terrible wilderness, in which were fiery serpents and scorpions, and thirsty land where there was no water, who brought water for you out of the flinty rock, who fed you in the wilderness with manna, which your fathers did not know, that he might humble you, and that he might test you to do you good in the end. Then you say in your heart, my power and the might of my hand have gained me this wealth. And you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth, that he may establish his covenant, which he swore to you, your fathers, as it is this day. Okay, the book of Deuteronomy is Moses' farewell address to the Israelites as they are on the verge of entering the land of promise. Moses reviews the history of their desert wanderings and reiterates the laws God has given them. According to the passage, what will their coming life in this good land be like? It starts to sound like a fairy tale, doesn't it? But it really was. In quotation marks. Everything. Didn't have to set the alarm clock. Didn't have to get up at 4 o'clock and go into a cold, dark mines, Kenny. They just walked out and got it. So I think y'all pretty well covered everything that I had wrote down there. Even riches. He even promised them riches. Said they would want for nothing. After all the blessings God has given the Israelites and the additional blessings he promises to give them, why should God need to say, be careful that you do not forget the Lord your God? Had a bad history, didn't he?
That's the reason they were in bondage they were in. They're the biggest knuckleheads in the world.
Everything's going good for you. You don't get prayers often, seek him. You don't spend as much time with him because you think, well, I don't need him, When you need him is when things aren't going so well, when you spend more time with him and remember
Yep.
what he's done for you.
If we had him a little closer when we didn't need him, we may not need him as much.
I think the Bible talks a little bit about that being the season of summertime.
Yeah.
Summertime and things are going well.
It was kind of interesting that when I was looking at this, not only did it say that, you can go ahead and flip it, that they had forgotten God in times past, they went back to idols, but it said they forgot God entirely. Not that they just went back to the idols, that it's almost like God didn't exist in their life, that they had just forgotten him. And,
So when we're talking about that, and they had, it says they forgot God entirely. Anytime, in God's eyes, black and white, right? You're either for him or you're against him. And when you turn, we talked about that. Ahab was kind of trying to keep a little bit of God going while his wife was bringing all these idols in, right? Well, the minute you start worshiping idols,
work out so well, did it? Okay. I had it referenced these verses, so I'll go ahead, Isaac. James 4:13 through 16. Come now, you who say, today or tomorrow we will go to such and such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell and make profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord's will, we shall live and do this or that, meaning for the Lord. But now you boast in your arrogance, all such boasting is evil. So, they were getting this good life, and then they were like, hey, look what Bobby done. Yeah, I got a new car, I got a boat, I got a camper, got a place, yeah. Yeah, Bobby didn't do it. That's right. How does such ungrateful forgetfulness contrast with Paul's attitude in study 1? And Scott did that lesson last week. And so who remembers besides Scott what Paul's attitude was? No matter where he was or what happened, and he went through a lot. We got an A on this side of the class. Paul had a humble attitude for the generosity of the Lord. He could cope with all circumstances, not through his own strength. Back up, Isaac. But through him who gives him strength. And I quoted that, Philippians 4:13, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So we should try to find good in all circumstances that we find ourselves in, right? No matter how hard it is sometimes to do that, and it gets very difficult at times. We all got to live in this world, and it's hard when you got, you're a young family and you got kids, you got a car payment, you got a house payment, you got groceries to buy, you got that light bill coming due, and you're under a lot of stress. So, the Israelites were hardly unique. Why do you think people in general so quickly forget God? Go ahead, Mike. Your feet's burning off.
I think that really shows us how our relationship is. I think that when our relationship is close with God, like Paul was, that he said, I can remember when things were going bad and you got me out of it. I think it's more relational than it is memorization. I think we all remember, but it's about our relationship. And if we're close to God, we're close to God all the time. But a lot of people are close to God when things happen. Now let's be honest. I'll say this for myself. I pray more than bad times than I do good. Right?
Yeah.
So feel like I got more to pray for. Well, that's a lie. That's a lie. I got just as much to pray for when things are going
That's right. More. More probably.
I said, because people are always looking into the future for something better than what they currently have. People chase after the latest and greatest. I think it's safe to say this, at our age, we've lost keeping up with the technology that's out there that the kids all are into now. And some people have to have whatever that latest gadget is that's out there, they gotta have it. And I think that's just an attitude that you say people in general, they're looking for something better than what they got. Now, if that's the case though, they sure don't have God in their heart or they'd be filled up, right?
Yep. Go ahead and flip it there. I said we focus on the gift or luxury, not the giver. We feel entitled about what we have for many reasons, and some of them, we talked about. But you can get to the point where you just think, that I'm entitled to this. That it's not that you got to work or you got to do this, you got to do that. That you feel like it's yours no matter what. We think the things we have provided for ourselves through hard work or our own intelligence. We should always remember that the good and perfect gifts come from God. James 1:17 says, every good and every perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights, with whom no variableness, neither shadow of turning. So there's no left or right, no black or white, as Mike said. Right there, every good gift comes from God. When the Israelites lost faith in God, he declared that none of the original population who left Egypt would enter Canaan, with very few exceptions. If those about to enter Canaan are an entirely new generation, how can they remember the Lord who brought them out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery? So this is the verses it referred us to. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word, but as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord. Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and I have not hearkened my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers, neither shall any of them that provoke me see it. But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and hath followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereunto he went, his seed shall possess it. Now, Caleb was one of the spies that went in and had a positive attitude and wasn't negative. If you remember that story, he was one that said we can go and do this, and the others were scared. You know, they didn't want. They were talking against it. Now the Amalekites and the Canaanites dwelt in the valley. Tomorrow turn you and get you in the wilderness by way of the Red Sea. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, how long shall I bear with this evil congregation, with murmur against me? I have heard the murmurings of the children of Israel, which they murmur against me. Say unto them, as truly as I live, saith the Lord, as ye have spoken in mine ears, so will I do to you. Your carcasses shall fall in the wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number from 20 years old upward, which have murmured against me. Doubtless ye shall not come into the land concerning which I swear to make you dwell therein, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, the son of Nun. But your little ones, which you said shall be prey, them will I bring in, and they shall know the land which ye have despised. But as for you, your carcasses, they shall fall in this wilderness. And your children shall wander in the wilderness 40 years, and bear your whoredoms until the carcasses be wasted in the wilderness. And correct me if I misstate this, but they're like an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. The law during that time is if something happened, there were like 10 times the penalty. So they took 4 years and multiplied it times 10. That's how they had to stay 40 years because of the 4 years of disobedience. Is that fairly accurate? Close? After the number of days in which ye search the land, even 40 days, each day for a year ye shall bear your iniquities, even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise. I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me. In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die.
They actually said that, the other verses where he said 10 times.
Yeah.
So that's what God is saying. Just to be clear though, this is Old Testament, way Old Testament. Who was the hero of the story there?
Caleb.
Right? What was Caleb? Was he a Jew?
He was
He was a Gentile.
yes.
Right? He was from a tribe that didn't even like the Jews.
Yep.
But he recognized that was something. Hey, I don't understand why those folks murmur and fuss and carry on while they're all knuckleheads, but they serve the real God, and I want some of that. So God, listen, God had a plan. God had a plan even then.
Yep. If those about to enter Canaan are an entirely new generation, how can they remember the Lord who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery? So I guess we got the one up there with my thoughts, but
I don't know exactly where it is in the Bible, but God instructed the Israelite people to teach each generation about what God had done for them.
It's in Joshua.
He repeated them to them more than once, telling them that they are to teach the young ones all the things the Lord had done for them.
Jeopardy winner. Jeopardy winner. 6, 7. So, so they didn't have Netflix, didn't have Spectrum or Comcast, so they sit around every night and ate, and there wasn't nothing to do but talk, I guess, and sleep. But yeah, they lived through it. Yeah. So these kids are there, and I'm sure mothers and telling their kids bedtime stories. Those were the bedtime stories, I would assume. And how could you not talk about the gifts of the great Exodus that they went through, the plagues they went through, the manna, the cloud by day, the light by night, crossing the Red Sea, And another thing that hit me, and I put this back in there today, they had no influence from outside sources like they did when they were in Egypt under bondage. So they didn't have an influence of these pagans, I guess, trying to influence them into another way. So it was a little easier for them. But they still struggled with honoring God mightily.
You reminded of them as far as the clothes didn't wear out, the shoes didn't wear out, their feet didn't get sore.
Yeah. Why should the struggles of verses 5 through 16 motivate the Israelites to continue to remember and be grateful to the Lord? So I got 15 and 16 here. Who led you through the great and terrible wilderness in which were fiery serpents, scorpions, thirsty land where there was no water? Who brought water for you out of the flinty rock? Who fed you in the wilderness with manna which your fathers did not know? That he might humble you, that he might test you to do good in the end. So there's my thoughts. What are yours? I think a big one's he had proven himself, right? Many times. There was no doubt. If they had the wonder after they had free food handed right to them every single day, fresh. It wasn't they wait till the bread got stale and they threw it away. They got replenished every single day, fresh bread. Well, manna. I will assume it's a type of bread. Oh yeah, much like us.
All those people that God brought them out of Egypt from down there where they were slaves, but they wanted to go back into Egypt. It hasn't been, if they wouldn't have obeyed God, they wouldn't have wandered out of the wilderness for 40 years. 40 years is a long time.
It is.
It's a long time. And I think a bunch of them died before they got over.
They all did. They all did. None of them got to go into the promised land. Yeah, Caleb and Joshua, 2 of them. Even Moses and Aaron didn't get to go. And it was disobedience. Disobedience separates you.
I just wonder because even when they was free, that they turned against God. He ain't gonna have people turn against him.
Yep. So that second one, I said he proved over and over he was their caretaker and supplier for all things needed while in the wilderness. So there was no doubt that.
You can make a list of those things.
Oh yeah.
Food, water out of the rock in the dry land, just on and on and on.
Can you imagine just being Joe Blow and you're sitting there thirsty? You've been walking, all day long, and bam, water out of a rock. And I bet it was good and cold. A flinty rock. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't appreciate that water. They got them drank, but still yet they didn't appreciate what they'd been done.
Appreciate it until they got their thirst quenched. Then they stopped appreciating it. It's kind of, I think that would be, like the small children seeing those things, remembering them and actually seeing them, had to be increasing their faith too as they went along, as they saw. Children are very impressionable. I do something to my grandson, and I'm like Superman. If he's got a little car tore up and he can't get it fixed and I fix it, hey, Papa can do anything. But you just imagine these kids seeing this happening, this manna, this water, and all these things, how impressionable that was upon them. Okay, once the Israelites are established in the land, with what will they be tempted to replace gratitude to God? That's a good one. What will they be tempted to replace gratitude to God with? Yeah, wait a minute. God didn't do that. Yeah. Yeah. At first, yeah, God did it all. And then they're like, well, I gathered the manna. I put it in the baskets. I prepared it. I passed it out. Somebody should pat me on the back, right? Yeah. Yep. Yep. Good point. Good point. Okay, number 8. In what areas of your life do you face the same temptations? Yeah, life has changed a lot since the Israelites were, they didn't have, I don't want to say they didn't have a busy life, but they didn't have the worries. They didn't have a daughter down at LMU, to worry about. Yeah, 150 miles away to worry about every night. They just didn't have those. It's hard for people this day and time. I so wish sometimes there was no internet until I need something. It's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. And with this AI stuff, I don't know what's going to happen with all that. Yes. Oh yeah, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. Oh yeah. You have a little bit of success, your head gets so big, can't get through the door.
I remember when I was at ball, one of my VPs would brag on me in front of everybody. I'd swell up like big toad.
Yep.
And that very same week, he chewed about a pound and a half off my rear end. Right? And it taught you pretty quick. Hey,
You forgot how good you
the
was.
Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away, right?
Where's that other guy?
Yeah. Try to spread the wealth a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's just a few things right there, but we can get I'll call it the big head over just about anything that we're doing, and somehow start to think that it's us that's doing it, and just not true. I can tell you from experience, you can be rolling along pretty good, and you get away from the Lord, and the waves get pretty rocky sometimes. Right, Buck? He's over there shaking his head. The waves get rough and get hard to navigate, and you've got to find calm waters. We become entitled, don't we?
It's kind of like this. Whenever you got a health issue, nothing else matters in life.
Yeah.
You got a
Yeah.
serious problem, nothing else matters. The problems that you were dealing with yesterday, not a big deal.
Okay, number 9, consider the admonition of verse 18. What are some practical ways you can remind yourself that all of you have and all of your accomplishments come from God's generosity to you?
Hey, that 90% is his. Not the 10% you give. It's all his.
Yep.
Right? He's just letting you keep 90%.
It's very generous, just letting us give 10%.
You can't afford not to tithe. Right? That might preach one Sunday. You can't afford not to.
That'll preach a lot of Sundays. Might preach right here in a minute. I might have that wrote down here somewhere. Consider, okay, you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you power to get wealth, that He may establish His covenant, which He swore to your fathers, as it is this day. Nothing you do is of yourself. We've said that. We are nothing but mere flesh and bone without the Holy Spirit guiding and protecting us every day. Then I just put the verse again there in James, that every good gift and every perfect gift is from above and comes down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no variation or shadow of turning. Go ahead, Isaac. What is one way you remind yourself of that truth this week?
You should reread this scripture this week and pray over it.
That'd be a good way.
I don't know how many times I've read it, just filling out the book. And that's what this class does. It pushes you into the Word to read it. That made the first time
There you go, Mike. Tithing. You know, I think really, not jumping on you, but I think a lot of times that we don't talk enough about tithing in the church, because if you want to get blessed, just try it sometime. If you ain't doing it, try it. If you don't get blessed, I'll make it up to you. I'm telling you, you cannot outgive God. You cannot outgive Him. There are circumstances where you can't. That's not the point we're making. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. Those are a hard test. But you're right. Yeah.
You are my strength, you are my, it says God is this, God is this, God is this, and I look at that bookmark every day and know what, He's my provider, He's my safety, He's my Savior. It just goes on, and you say that to yourself, what is God to you? And that really brings it to life, that God is your everything.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I don't know that it was, I don't know, I think it was before probably we started uploading to YouTube, but we preached a sermon on how to pray. And it's important that we start our prayer with gratitude, that we recognize who God is and what He's done for us, right? And if you want to call it, if you want to remember it, call it the Sophie approach. That's kind of the way Sophie does me, right? If she's needing some help, I mean, I hear about what a good daddy I am. Right, now, I'm not saying butter God up, because God won't be buttered up. God knows who He is.
But Mike can be buttered up.
But worship is us recognizing who God is. That's what worship is.
Yeah.
And when we worship God in spirit and truth, saying, God, I recognize who you are. You're the maker of all things. You're the saver of my soul. I said, yeah, there you go. And then we humbly, but yet boldly, say, Lord, I'm in need. And I'm not surprising you with this, because you already know. But what He wants to hear is, we're in need. Let me tell you something. I think like it aggravates me when my kids ask me for something.
Ain't no better feeling.
No better feeling in the world. If I listen, and if I'm not able to give it, it eats me alive. Right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
exactly after something, I'll rumble around there.
Then you start figuring out a way to make it happen.
Way to get to it.
Yep.
Zach just moved in, it's the process of moving to a new home, and he's got a yard now to mow, been living in an apartment, hasn't mowed in years.
So he needs a lawnmower now.
He was saying, I need a lawnmower. He took my lawnmower to him, I said, that's my lawnmower.
You can use a weed eater. Ain't you got a goat?
Push mower,
It's a push mower, and I told him, I said, you're a big strong boy, in your fit, that'll do good for a while. There'll be a while you're going to want to ride more. But I took him Mrs. Pushmore, and it's self-propelled, Honda, you know, it's nice mower. And I went to Lowe's today to replace that thing, and I said, I bought this at Lowe's a couple years, oh, we don't sell this. You have to go online on it. And I looked at prices.
So you don't have a self-propelled mower now.
Years ago for what I paid for that
that didn't self-propel. So back up one more time. So the one I said, helping the neighbor, there are all kinds of people that we probably walk by and don't ask the question, is there something I can do for you? You get a little, hey, that person might need something, and then you think, well, probably not. You just keep going. Or you see your neighbor out, elderly neighbor out doing something, walk over and give them a hand. Might be an opportunity. Just say a kind word. It's unbelievable the people that are out there that you run into that were just looking for somebody, maybe even just to say hello to them and start a conversation. They're lonely, maybe depressed, and it would mean so much if you just say, hey, how you doing today? The weather's nice outside. I'm guilty myself. You in a hurry, run in the store, you're in a hurry. But say hey to them. Don't say hello up there.
People got in the elevator.
Just kidding.
I said, good morning, how you all doing this morning? The first thing they looked at me like I was nuts, and then they said, you're not from here, are you? I said, no, I'm not. Well, why did you ask me? Because people don't talk to each other on the elevator.
No, bad idea. So now or later is Luke 17, 11 through 19, and we'll just read it. Now it happened as he went to Jerusalem that he passed through the midst of Samaria and Galilee. Then as he entered a certain village, there met him 10 men who were lepers, who stood afar off. And they lifted up their voices and said, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. So when he saw them, he said to them, go show yourselves to the priest. And so it was that as they went, they were cleansed. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, returned with a loud voice glorifying God, and fell down on his face at his feet, giving him thanks. And he was a Samaritan. So Jesus answered and said, were there not 10 cleansed? But where are the 9? Were there not any found who returned to give glory to God except this foreigner? And he said unto him, arise, go your way. Your faith has made you well. So that's kind of goes along with our lesson today. One person was willing to give God thanks for what he'd done. The other 9 skipped out, took the money and run, if you would. Weren't grateful, not thankful. Glad they were healed, I'm sure. Took off about their own business. Never gave God the thanks. So... Plus, they had to pay their tithes.
A lot of people get blessed because of us. Sometimes through us, but sometimes because of us too. I've seen, we've talked before as far as there's a time that God moved in your life that you can say that was a God thing. I've seen that numerous times, but one in particular where there was a lot of people involved, if it didn't go a certain way. Man, it bothered me. Rhonda would tell you that I'd take some chores at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was really eating at me. I said, if this happens this way, we're in trouble. I said, if this way, we're in good shape. And I prayed and prayed. I said, there's going to be so many people negatively affected if this doesn't happen. Lord, please work it out. And it worked out exactly the way it needed to be. And the men didn't know it. Scott did. And I just went, like you said, thank you, Lord, for answering that prayer. It's awesome when you can see those
Yeah.
things.
Yep. God has a plan. Sometimes we have to take a deep breath and wait for the plan to evolve or take place and not try to inject ourselves so much. Yeah. Any other comments? Oh, yeah.
We'll also, that stone out there in heaven, we'll reap that when it comes. Amen. That's right.
The guy, I don't remember who said it, but says never too late to do the right thing. Yeah, it's really not. Never too late to do the right thing.
One of those questions that we had this week said something to the effect that if somebody gave you something and you didn't show proper gratitude, what are you going to do about it? Fix it. And it's never too late to go back to something.
That's right.
They don't like you.
Yeah.
They'll appreciate it now just as much as they would have.
Maybe more. Yeah. Because they'll know that you've been thinking about it. Yeah. Yeah.
I have just one more thing. Mike uses Sophie all the time as an example. Sometimes for bad, but she appreciates him and he does help her a lot. She's your typical girl who likes to dance around and clothes. But she is a good girl as far as she goes to church, she goes to Bible study. She hasn't dated anyone unless they were Christians. She's had guys that talk to her and ask her out, and she'll try to tell them about Jesus. She won't go with what she does when they're Christian. And she's making all A's. She's good.
She's good.
Not all bad.
She's good.
Yeah, I know you're very proud. She,
Sounds like I thought that's somebody's baby girl, though. Well, then you start bragging on that grandbaby girl. Hey, you don't, I'm waiting for the day that she gets like you said, that she thinks Papa's, because right now,
it's coming.
Papa's just a means to get to me.
It's a coming.
I walk through the door, and when Zach leaves, she's pointing at that phone saying, Nay, 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 Nay. And she ain't happy till I get Missy on the phone and she can talk to her.
See, I'm disadvantaged somewhat because I'm here most of the time through the week. I go down on the weekend, so Susan obviously gets to spend more time. But 2 weekends ago, I walked up and she was in front of me. Susan was. So here comes Oliver and Lily, and both of them went around her and come and dived on Papa. So I got bragging rights for a day or two. Now, I tell you, that don't sound like much. You wouldn't believe, though, how good that makes you feel. Your day's coming. Just hang in there. They're your reward for not killing your kids. Zach's not listening. He's busy back there. Or Isaac, I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, anything else? Yeah, gratitude is it's a good, it can help us all. It hits us all. You dismiss us, Mike?
Father God, Lord, we love you. We're thankful for all that you've done in this church and all that you're going to do. God, you're the problem solver. You're the problem fixer. And God, it's because you know all. You are God. And we're so thankful. God, we're thankful for these Wednesday night services, how we learn and how we interact and how we draw closer to each other as we draw closer to you. God, my prayer is that you convict more hearts to come out on Wednesday night so that they too can enjoy the